Hi everyone, this is Miss McConnell from Me Junior High. I'm going to be going over today's lesson, 2.3, day 2, and we're going to be talking about slope again. Today we're going to be finding slope from a graph. We're going to be given 2 points, and we're going to be given tables. We're going to find the slope of all of that here. So for our warm-up on slide 3, we're going to find the slope of the line from the graph. This is what we were doing yesterday, and we were using rise over run. So we're going to apply rise over run here. We'll always start at the bottommost point, and then we're going to rise, and here we're just going to rise 1, and then we are going to run here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I can apply that one more time just to make sure. I rise up 1, and then we run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get to that next point. So we have a slope of 1/5 here. My fraction is fully simplified, so we are good to go here. On slide 4, again, when we're talking about slope, that is the change in the y-coordinate over the change in the x-coordinate. We're going to be utilizing y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 today, so we're going to be given points from a table or just given 2 ordered pairs, and we're going to plug that into the formula to find our slope. So we're going to do this on slide 5. So we're given 2 ordered pairs. We're given 5, 2 and 4, -1. Now, my slope formula that I'm going to be using is m is equal to, please do not want a highlighter. So we have m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We're going to be using this formula to help us out here. And what I'm going to do right away is I'm going to label my ordered pair. So I'm just going to label this first ordered pair x1, y1. Let's write that better. x1, y1, and then my second ordered pair here, I can label this as x2, y2. Change colors here. So now we're just going to be plugging in our values into the formula. So for my y2 value, I have m is equal to y2 here is -1 minus my y1 value, which is 2, over x2, which is 4, minus x1, which is 5. And then we have m is equal to -1 minus 2 is -3. 4 minus 5 is -1. And now I need to simplify this down, so I have a slope here of -3 divided by -1, and negative divided by negative is a positive, so I have a positive slope of 3. Now going back to how I labeled these ordered pairs, it doesn't matter if you made this first point x2, y2, and then your second point x1, y1. That does not matter. Just make sure you are consistent with how you're labeling. Your first ordered pair should both be x1, y1 or x2, y2. All right, now we're going to head to slide 6. So we're going to be given 2 points again, and we're going to plug it into our slope formula here. So again, we have m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I have x1, y1, and x2, y2 here. So again, start with labeling just so it's easy for you guys to plug it into the formula. So we have m is equal to, I'm going to take my y2 value, which is -4, and I'm going to subtract from my y1 value, which is 6. Then I'm going to take my x2 value here, which is 5. And we are subtracting from my x1 value, which is 0. And we are left with m is equal to -4 minus 6 is -10. 5 minus 0 is a positive 5. Then I do need to simplify again my fraction. So I have -10 over 5. This simplifies nicely into -2. So my slope on this line is -2. All right, now we're given, again, 2 points. So I'm going to use m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I'm going to label my points as x1 and y1, and my second point I'm going to label as x2, y2. Then we're going to plug in our values into our formula here. So we have m is equal to, my y2 value is 4, minus my y1 value is 4. So I have 4 minus 4 in my numerator. Then my x2 value is 3, minus my x1 value is 0. So now I have m is equal to 4 minus 4 is 0 in my numerator. 3 minus 0 is 3. I do have 0 in my numerator, which is okay. So this simplifies down to m is equal to 0. So I have a slope of 0. Now I have some bonus questions for you. If I have a slope of 0, that means my line is horizontal. We talked about this yesterday. And I can write an equation of a horizontal line as y is equal to, and if we look here, we have our y values are at 4, so we could write this as y is equal to 4. Now this is just like a little bonus section here. Now we're going to move to slide 8. So again, we're given 2 points. We're going to plug that into our slope formula. We have y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Again, this is a formula you are definitely going to want to remember and know for your quizzes and tests. First step here, label your x1 and y1 values, and then your second point, you can label your x2 and y2 values. Then we are going to plug them into our formula. So my y2 value is -2. We are subtracting from my y1 value, which is 2. And then we have our x2 value, which is 5, minus our y1 value, which is 5 as well. So now we have m is equal to -4 in our numerator and 0 in our denominator. 5 minus 5 is 0. Now, if you have a 0 in your denominator, that is not okay. If you plug that into your calculator, it would say error. So if you remember from yesterday, if we have a 0 in our denominator, we call this slope undefined. Which means, again, going back to our bonus section here, this is a vertical line on our graph. And we can write vertical lines as x is equal to, and you notice here, my x values are the same. So there is a vertical line at x is equal to 5. This part is a little bonus, but again, if you have that 0 in your denominator, that means we have an undefined slope. All right, so now we're going to find the slope given a table. So this looks a little bit different. We're still using our same formula. So we still are using m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now, I'm given points from a table. So I can use 2 and 4. I can label this as x1 and y1. And then I can use 3 and 1 as x2 and y2. You just have to pick 2 points from your table. If it helps you to rewrite them as 2 points, you can do 2 comma 4 and then 3 comma 1. If that helps you, you can rewrite it as well. But again, we're going to plug in chug here. So we have y2, which is 1, minus y1, which is 4, over x2, which we labeled as 3 here, and then minus x1, which is 2. So now we have m is equal to -3 over 1. So we have a slope here of -3. And when we're given a table, again, you can just pick 2 points from the table and plug it into the slope formula. Alrighty, now we're going to find the value of x or y so that the ordered pairs have a given slope. So I'm still going to be using my y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and that is equal to our slope. So we're going to, again, label here. So I have x1 and y1, x2 and y2, and I'm also given my slope here. So I'm going to plug values into my equation here. So I have y2, which I labeled as y. So that is going to be y minus y1, which is 4. I'm going to write this with my purple. Whoopsies. My y, sorry, y2 is y. So I'm going to label this in my light purple y. Then I'm subtracting y1. Now notice my y1 is a -4, so I'm going to write this as minus -4 over x2, which is 5, minus my x1 value, which is 2. And we are setting this equal to 2/3. So this is equal to our slope of 2/3 that is given to us. Alrighty, now I have y minus -4. If I know if I minus a negative number, that just turns into a positive here. So we have y plus 4 over 5 minus 2 is 3 is equal to 2/3. Now I have a fraction is equal to a fraction right now. So I can cross multiply. So this is a skill that we used from last unit to solve for y. So I'm going to cross multiply here. So I have 3, not using highlighters. So I have 3 times y plus 4 is equal to 6. So now I'm going to distribute the 3 to the y and 4. We get 3y plus 12 is equal to 6. Then we subtract 12 to the other side. We get 3y is equal to -6. Let's bring this down a little. We're almost done. We divide each side by 3, and we get y is equal to -2. So we found the value of y here, which is -2. And here we did use cross multiplication to solve for y once we simplified our formula down. So we're going to do one more example together. So now we can see we're missing an x value. So I have x comma -2 and -3/8. Again, we are using m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to go ahead and plug my values in here. I have my slope, which is -5/2. So I have -5/2 is equal to I'm going to go ahead and label here my x1, y1, x2, y2. It's easy to forget right at the beginning, so make sure that you guys get in the habit of doing that. So we have negative 5 halves is equal to, my y2 value here is 8, minus my 1 value, which is negative 2, over my x2 value, which is negative 3, minus x, which is my x1 value. So again, I'm solving for x here, and I'm given my slope. So I'm going to simplify here. So I have negative 5 halves is equal to, when I do 8 minus negative 2, I know if I subtract a negative, it turns into a positive here. So I have 8 plus 2, which is 10, over negative 3 minus x. Now I have a fraction is equal to a fraction. So we are going to cross multiply to solve here. Drag this down. So when we cross multiply, we have negative 5 times negative 3 minus x is equal to 2 times 10. I need to distribute that negative 5 to what's inside the parentheses. So negative 5 times negative 3 is a positive 15. Minus 5x is equal to 20. 2 times 10 is 20. Then I'm going to subtract 15 to the other side here. And we are left with a negative 5x is equal to 5. Divide by 5, a negative 5 here, and we get x is equal to a negative 1. So again, we solved for that x value. We get x is equal to negative 1. Now, we have our lesson wrap up here. So today we were solving using slope, or we were solving for slope using our formula. M is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You have to label your ordered pairs. That is going to prevent you guys from making any silly mistakes. It's easy to mess up those numbers. Then you're going to substitute those values into your formula, and you to simplify your answer, especially when you have fraction answers. Simplify all fractions for slope. And your homework is going to be on Class Kick, so you can head on